Marion. All right, Marlon. Turn. Get that all the time, really? All right. Hey, guys, listen, we're going to have a great presentation tonight. I'm in a great mood. I really hope a lot of you guys are in a great mood as well. And hey, even if you're in a bad mood, you're going to be in a good mood just because it's me. So we have a very, I think, a very important topic that we're going to cover tonight. And I'm going to just jump right into it in the because it is 8:01 here, and I know people are going to continue to join, but I want to get through this simply because um, although it is a heavy topic, I want to make it concise because I want to do it simple, small, so that way you can take it away and work on it. And at the end of the day, anything that you've missed, anything that you want to recap or talk to us about, it's very simple. You know where to find us. You can simply give us a shout, give us a call. So you know what? I just want to get a quick message out, and once again, I want to say hello to everybody who is just joining us. And it's, I'm Christopher Hummel, Smart Home Choice. You know, Hibbert, Quentin Cordick, me, Christopher Hummel, Darlene Hibbert, of course, who is our mortgage specialist, and Charlene as well. I don't know if she's on the call or not, but if you are, hello, Charlene. She's our admin. And I again just want to start this off by saying to you guys all that you know that Smart Home Choice is all about learning. It's all about education. It's all about helping you guys move forward, helping you guys with your goals, your achievements, and moving forward. And guess what? We have the same struggle that you guys do as well. Now, you know that we are investors. We've been investing for a long time. We're also real estate agents. Right? So understand we do want to work with you. We do want your business, of course. At the same time, we want to help you move forward as coaches as well. So anything that you hear tonight, whether you want it to be recapped or you want more information, please call, let us know, send us an email. We're always there to work with you and help you because, again, we help you and you move forward. That helps us at the same time. All right. So give me 30 minutes of your undivided attention because I think you're going to pull out some really good little nuggets from this. So you're on your computers, turn off Facebook, stay out of Twitter, Donald Trump, stay out of Twitter, Instagram, stay off the Instagram, put your cell phones on the side. Just give me 30 minutes of your undivided attention because I think this is an important topic for all of us. And, some of you guys are going to have questions. So we're going to have a little bit of questions and answer period at the end. All right. So hold on to your hats and we're off.
Right. And with that, sorry, let me jump in here real quick here, Chris. And with that as well, too.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna mute everybody. But if you have any questions as they come up, just type them in the box there and I'm gonna keep an eye on it and then we'll get to them at the end. Okay. And then also what I'll do too at the end is I'll also unmute everybody. So if you guys want to talk, whoever is not shy and wants to ask Chris or myself a question, feel free. Okay.
All right, great. All right, thanks, Gary. All right, by the way, guys, just so you know, this is the first time we're doing this, so it's going to sound a little bit raw, but understand that we're going to be improving over time. And this is just one in a whole slew of new things, that content that we want to put out for you over this year and over next year. So again, we're trying to build, more information, more value into what you guys are receiving and what we're putting out. So this is just the first of a whole slew of things, right? So with that in mind, I just want to give you a little bit about background about me and, where I'm at. Now, I'll tell you, I'd say, 10 years ago, even 12 years ago, I didn't know that I was going to be where I'm at. I was stuck in a dead-end job. I really didn't like it. I was not going where I wanted to go. I had some dreams, but they obviously weren't big enough. I had some goals, but they obviously weren't big enough, and I wasn't really planning these goals out in order to achieve them. And that's very important. But I didn't realize it at the time. And I'll tell you something. You know what? Realistically, look, here's another, and it's very simple. I'm not perfect, right? And truly, that is the truth. I'm not perfect. But guess what? I'm working on it, and I'm nearing my goals more and more each day, because I have decided to change my life, and I put aside some of the misconceptions, preconceptions that I had. But what else I did was I have a why, a very strong why as to why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I took that why, I attached some steps to it and some goals to it, and then I started taking those steps and those goals. And, again, I'm working on it. I'm not there yet, certainly, but I'm much further ahead than even my wildest dreams, to be frank with you guys. So, I just want you guys to take some of that enthusiasm that I've got and translate it to yourselves. So this is why we put this talk together. Again, nobody's perfect here. Nobody's being judged. I'm certainly not perfect. I'm not where I feel like I can be, but I want to help you guys move forward yourselves. All right. So let's move here. What I was going to say to you guys was, question: what do you do first thing in the morning? What do you do first thing in the morning? Some of you guys, it might be, get up, wipe your eyes, hit that alarm clock, and go right back to bed, right? Right back to sleep. Well, some of you guys, not all of you, right? Some of you guys, maybe the first thing you do is you hop up and you brush, right? You look in the mirror, you shave, maybe, you take a shower. Maybe that's the first thing you do. Maybe it's breakfast. Maybe it's, you read a news site or a newspaper. Get yourself informed. Get yourself ready before you go out. Well, one thing, because we're talking about goal setting today, one thing that I think is important, and a lot of you guys know that I'm very big on Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. I'm very, very big on that book. And one of the big takeaways for me from that book is something called positive affirmation. Some of you might have heard of this, some of you might not have. But positive affirmation is very simple. Your brain, according to some, your brain does not understand what you feed it, whether it's positive or negative. Your brain is neutral. Doesn't understand positive, doesn't understand negative. It understands only what you tell it. So if you tell it something positive, it will stand that and absorb it, and it doesn't know positive or negative, but it will carry it out. If you tell it something negative, same thing. It doesn't understand. Say, I am the best. I am the best at. I am the best real estate investor. Geez, to put it very simple. I am the best looking at whatever. The point is, it will understand that as a positive. Whereas if you say something like, I can't do this, I can't do that, I'm bad at, I'm terrible at, it will understand that just the same. So, positive affirmation is a very simple concept, but it's very difficult, because all the time, don't we say to ourselves, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, I'm terrible. That's something that we have to cut out as much as possible. So, Gary and I, we were talking, and one of the things that came up was the concept of sticky notes. Right? Sticky notes. So, it's that simple. Sticky notes. Now, what do we mean by that? Well, sticky notes are the 3M type, the ones you find on your desk. Evidently, it takes 21 days to change a habit, to create a habit, to correct a habit, right? To drop a habit. Evidently, it takes 21 days to change a habit. Maybe you can then say it takes 21 days to change your life. Maybe you could say that. Could you go that far? Well, with this concept, sticky notes, it's very simple. What you want to do or change, you write on the sticky note. And you put that sticky note everywhere. On your bathroom mirror, on your fridge, at your desk at work, on the TV controller, right? On your dinner table. But the point is, what you're trying to bring attention to these things that you want to change or correct. So If you put those sticky notes down, everywhere you look, you will see them. And the point is 21 days to change, correct, or drop a habit. And again, maybe 21 days to change your life. So if you put, I will not overeat, because that's your New Year's resolution for that matter, then you will put that on your bathroom mirror. I will not overeat. You'll put that on the fridge. You'll put that on your desk at work. Anywhere you know where it's going to be observed, where you're going to see it readily. And if you're consistent enough, you do have a good chance of changing yourself, of adopting that new habit yourself. And one of the other concepts one of the other thoughts that came up was Jim Carrey, the comedian, Jim Carrey. Well, Jim Carrey, before he was Jim Carrey, before he was quote unquote the Jim Carrey, he wrote himself a check for $1 million, right? And had that on him, on his person at all times. So he would pull it out anytime he had to use a credit card, anytime he had to pull out a business card, anytime it was in his wallet or his pocket. So he would see that. And every time it was just a reminder of what he was trying to do, what he was trying to achieve. And I guess in his mind, this became a positive affirmation that he will be the best comedian at the time. He will be, a millionaire, right? This is way before he became successful. So I think that makes a lot of sense. So with that in mind, let's turn to, I just want to give you guys, well, there you go. Today I will let go of the past that I do not need and create the future that I want. Right, nice little summary. So let me give you a quick history of Smart Home Choice. Really the name of Smart Home Choice. Really the name more than anything. So my understanding is Gary was hacking away at his desk at TD Trust in networking or IT manager or some high paying job. And you know what? He was there dreaming about how I'm going to get out of here. I hate it here. He's getting paid, but I hate it here. What a terrible place. So he's wasting, bank money on the internet, surfing the net, trying to figure it out. Okay, how do I get out of here? What am I going to do? And I guess he came up with a concept. Eventually coming up with this concept of okay, I'm going to help investors like myself invest in real estate. He's trying to figure out the name. Okay, what's the name? He's just brainstorming, throwing things down. Home, house, best, great. And again, on the bank's dime, surfing the net, I guess he came up on a site, a goal-setting site, and it was SMART goals. Some of you guys might be familiar with that. Well, SMART goals, I guess, then translated into Smart Home Choice. And evidently, he loved it. It stuck, and you know what? It makes a lot of sense. So with that, I'd like to pivot into exactly what SMART goals are. So SMART goals are very, it's very simple, but it can be complicated at the same time. But what we're trying to do here is we're trying to set our goals. By doing so, we need to be smart about it. Smart being specific, measurable, attainable.
If she's not going to move forward, you know what I mean?
Thanks, Darlene. We appreciate that. All right, guys. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Now, some of you might have heard of this. They might have had different meanings, different words, but at the end of the day, it's pretty well all the same. All right, so this is a very powerful concept right here, because when we're talking about goals, it's important to be specific. It is very important to be well-defined and focused, right? So, for example, maybe you want to obtain in your business, you want to obtain 10 cash flowing properties, cash flowing this amount of money by a specific date, right? As opposed to, I'd like to pick up 3 properties this year, right? Maybe you want to be more specific. 3 properties that are here, that are cash flowing this much, that are by this time, right? So much more specific. And again, maybe it's just not I want to be a millionaire. Maybe it's I want to make $50,000 a month for the next 10 years by creating maybe a new software product, I don't know, or by purchasing 4 cash flowing properties per year. Again, something specific. And what you're going to do exactly to achieve this, you're going to think about the main, right? What, where, how, when, with whom, maybe some conditions and some limitations on these things, right? So again, the more specific you are, the greater chance you have at achieving your goal. And it's very important. The next step is measurable, right? You want to measure these goals, and I mean it could be in anything. It could be in dollars. It really it doesn't matter. You must be able to measure it. So let me give you a quick note. A goal without a measurable outcome, kind of like football. Maybe football, you can go back and forth, get in the end zone. But if you don't keep score, how do you know who the winner is, or how do you know you've achieved anything? So all you're doing here is putting numbers to your goal in order to keep track, so you know that you are on track. That's what you're doing essentially. You're just posting a number to it, so that way you know, am I actually moving forward or am I spinning my wheels? So you want to make this measurable, and it's going to help you focus, keep focused, and keep your goal on target. The next one is attainable, and very simple. Attainable can be looked at a couple of ways, but oftentimes you might think, hey, my goal just needs to be easy, simple, attainable. Well, you're right. You want to set your goals within reach to an extent, but I'm going to challenge you to set your goals out of reach, just out of reach. And my thought to that is, if you set a goal so high that you may think it's impossible or unattainable, when in fact it probably is. However, if it's so high, imagine you only got halfway to that goal, right? Just looking at halfway, you might, by the end of it, you might even be farther ahead than you ever thought or you'd ever gotten before. So your goals, we say attainable, but realistically, you might want to shoot for the stars, shoot for the moon and land on the stars. I think that's it. Shoot for the moon and land on the stars, right? Now, I'll tell you one other thing though, and I think to me this makes sense, and I only heard it just the other day. With respect to goals attainable, again, it's a challenge, but if you actually manage to hit your goal at the end of the year, maybe you set your bar too low, right? You want your goals to be possible, attainable, but still beyond reach, because you have to be pushed. You want to be urged to new heights. So put your goals, make them attainable, but yet just out of reach, all right? And again, if you hit that goal, probably set it too low. The next one on the list here is relevant. And when we're looking at relevant, maybe you have to consider the current conditions and the realities of maybe your investing career, or I guess at work for that matter, the business climate, right? You may want to have your best year and say increase your cash flow or your revenue or whatever it is that you're looking to attain, say by 50%. But in all reality, if there is a recession looming for that matter, that might be tough. You may have 3 new competitors come into the market, 3 new real estate investors on the block that have, I don't know, better properties than you for that matter. Again, you have to understand that you have to keep in your current condition, right? The current business climate. So that's important. I mean, obviously you want it to be attainable, you want it to be specific and so forth, but if there are certain conditions that limit what you're trying to achieve, you either have to make a correction or you have to understand that you may not achieve those objectives with the current climate. So you may have to make a change. And lastly, and I think one of the more important, is time bound. Put a time limit on it. Put a timeline on it is maybe what I should say. You have your goals and you have your objectives. Like measurable, if you don't put a number on it, maybe it means nothing. Put a time on your goals. Is it I'm going to have that $50,000 cash flow, per year within the next, 10 years, right? Or within the next 5 years. You got to put a time limit on it. Is it I'm going to buy 3 properties and that's it? I'm going to buy 3 properties. How is that going to work for you? How's that going to help you? No, I want to buy 3 properties, right, by this date. Or I want to have $1 million in the bank by this date. You don't put a time on it. How do you know when to get there? It's very difficult. So again, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. These are all SMART. This is all part of goal setting. So again, we call it SMART goals or SMART goal setting. So with that, I'm going to pivot. I'm going to pivot into something that we always talk about, and it's called whiteboarding. All right, whiteboard goal setting. So whiteboarding. Well, whiteboarding, some people do vision boards. It's very, very similar. Whiteboards and vision boards. The point is you're making it visual. You must have heard that writing things down is probably one of the most important elements in setting your goals or in achieving something. Write it down. All right. So I choose to use my whiteboard. I have a vision board as well. In fact, I've got 2 whiteboards, but I have a vision board as well. And I choose to use my whiteboards because I used to do my goals on paper. What used to happen to my paper, it would get filed in a desk somewhere and I'd never see it again. And I bet you any money, a lot of you guys have that same problem. You've written down a whole bunch of to-dos. I got to do this, a list of all the things you want to achieve. And it disappears. It gets filed away. I don't know. It just disappears. Whereas if you've got a whiteboard, or in my case, 2 whiteboards, or a vision board, and you put them up on the wall, you see them at all times. Maybe you put them at your desk. Maybe you put them, I don't know, on your way out of the house, right? But have those whiteboards there and write your goals down. It's important. In this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big goals. And then you can break them down into tasks, right? Break them down into small chunks. But the point is, have something in writing that you can always see. So some people will have, 2 whiteboards, one for business, one for personal. In all frankness, for me, my goals are all over the place. Business and personal are all mixed up. My goals not organized on my whiteboard is not organized at all. It's organized to me, but if you saw it, maybe there'd be chaos. For me, it's very organized, and I understand what I'm doing and where I'm going with it. But I don't have the personal and business. I know some of you may, and that might be how you have to do it. Right? But again, you know what? The point is just have them there so that way you always see your goals. You can always work towards them. And that's really the important thing. SMART and positive affirmation, all of that stuff is fantastic. But we are visual people, so you want to have something that you can readily see. It's visual, right? Whiteboard in mind. All of this, what we're talking about here, is really important, but it doesn't matter unless unless you add that little ingredient in the witch's brew called action. And to me, action is the most important, pertinent step. I'm giving you guys the recipe, but if you don't put it together, if you don't take action, put it together, it means nothing. And once you have the recipe put together, if you don't do it, perform it, take a step, again, it means nothing. And action doesn't have to be big, grandiose action. I mean, you can have huge goals, but you're gonna break them down into smaller chunks, smaller tasks. But again, the point is baby steps. Take action. If it's small things, great. If it's large steps, but again, take action. Just do it. And if you need help with that, we're very, very open to help you guys out. So the World Series, baseball, singles. Baseball, winning a baseball game or the World Series, not all about grand slams, right? It's about small steps, singles. Singles will win the World Series. So I got to say, Gary, in this picture, it looks like Donaldson is actually swinging for the fences. So I love the picture. But the point is singles. Singles will win you the World Series. Okay, they'll get you around the bases. So, again, it's just taking small steps, action. Small steps become big or turn into big goals. With that in mind, why? You always hear us talking about that. Why? Right? Have a why, an incredible why, an incredible burning desire, a why, and attach that to your goals. Because why drives action. It's as simple as that. It's absolutely as simple as that. Why drives action. If you're dead broke and the mortgage is due, right? You're dead broke and the mortgage is due in a week. If that is there's a burning desire there to keep your house, it will drive you into action. I guarantee it. You need a why to help drive action. It helps you overcome obstacles. Those obstacles those roadblocks that you will strive to overcome. Your why will get you beyond those. I've got my own why, and I didn't discover this until she was born, and my why has now become my two daughters, right? I wanted them. My initial thought was I want each of these little girls to have a house each because I don't know how I'm going to pay for their education. It was as simple as that. And then I bought my two properties, and you know what? I've been moving ever since. But that was my deep-seated why. And some of you guys might be the same thing. I don't know what your why is. You'll have to determine your why, but that will be your drive. It will help you overcome those obstacles. You know what, guys? I think, in all honesty, that's pretty well the message that I had for you guys. Let's recap a little bit very quickly, and then we'll get into some questions. So we talked about positive affirmation. We talked about sticky notes, right? If that's something that will be helpful to you, I urge you to try it. If you've been doing things and it's not working, try the sticky notes. It doesn't hurt. It might look silly, but it doesn't hurt. Put them all over the place. So sticky notes, positive affirmation. Tell yourself that you can do it, are good, right? As opposed to I can't and I'm not. We talked about SMART goals. Be specific with your goals. Make sure they're measurable. Put a number to it. Make them attainable, but again, beyond reach, right? You want to push yourself. You want to drive. Make them relevant. In the business climate, right? Make it relevant, and put a timeline on it. Very important. We talked about whiteboard. Again, I've got two whiteboards. You may have one or two, business, personal, whatever it is. The point here is make it visual, right? Just write it down. Make it visual so you see it all the time. You can add, you can erase, you can change, modify. It doesn't matter. The point is make sure that you've got them visually. And we talked about taking action, right? I think honestly, that's probably the number one step, taking action. You don't take action, all of what we talked about, anything you've ever done means absolutely nothing. So take action, and it doesn't have to be a big step, baby steps. I told you, singles win the World Series, so baby steps are fantastic. And why, again, take your why, and it will be your burning desire to achieve those goals. So it will help you drive your action. It will help you overcome your obstacles. Okay. So that was my message, and look at that. I'm pretty well right on time. 8:30.
Bang on.
It was supposed to be very, very, very compact, very concise, because we know that you're busy, and we want you to jump off this call and hop to your goals if you haven't done it already. So with that in mind, we have lots and lots of content on the website. We're developing new content going forward, and anything that you need, we're always ready to provide to you guys. So with that in mind, there may have been some questions. Gary, did you want to throw out some of the questions?
Yeah, so I got a couple questions here. So no, that was good, Chris. Good information, good content. So yeah, if anybody's got any questions, feel free to fire them over, and I'll get through them. But I do have a couple questions here. So the first one is, how many goals is too much or too little? That's a good question.
How many goals is too much or too little? Wow, that's a tough question to answer, because geez, I don't know. Is there really an answer to that question? Can you have too many goals? When you think about it, you can have too many goals, especially if they're scattered. However, if you maybe have 5 main big goals that you want to achieve, maybe over the next couple of years, a multi-year goal, yet your small goals become your tasks, your ways to achieve those larger goals. Maybe there is no too many goals, but I think at the end of the day, if you concentrate on too many things, you will end up being scattered. So you're best to have 3 to 5 big goals that you want to achieve, and maybe a few smaller, maybe up to 10 smaller goals. Because again, you need focus, right? That's very important. You need to be specific, and you need focus.
Yeah.
But I urge you to have one big goal.
Yeah, and just to add to that, Chris, I mean, one of the things that I did in the beginning, and I know that especially when you're new to this and you're excited, and you've got all kinds of goals, especially for people who do have lots of goals. A good way to do it is just put it all into a book. Start off in a book first, or your agenda, and then from there, like Chris had mentioned earlier, you have your whiteboard, and then you put your goals on your whiteboard, right? And then just go through the main ones that you want and prioritize it, because not all of them are going to fit in that whiteboard, unless you're going to write real small. So don't write small, just, put your main goals on there for the year that you think that you can achieve and that are attainable, and then go from there.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right, you have another question?
Yeah. So when is a good time to review the goals? Should you do it weekly, or should you do it monthly, or should you do it yearly?
Weekly, monthly, or yearly? To be honest with you, you should probably do all 3. Weekly, monthly, and yearly. Consider maybe your major goals. Your major goals might be, yearly, or your multi-year goals might be yearly, rather. Yearly, or even maybe every 6 months, something like that. And then you could consider breaking that goal, multi-year or just big goal. Break it down into chunks, into manageable elements. And those manageable elements, maybe you're going to look at those on a monthly basis. And on a weekly basis, you're going to look at the tasks that you've set out to achieve those manageable chunks, so that goal. So in my mind, you should be looking at your goals weekly, monthly, and yearly. again, tasks, small steps weekly, and monthly, just the bigger chunks, right? Make sense?
Yep, no, that makes sense. And the other thing as well, too, guys, I've unmuted everybody. So if you guys want to talk as well, too, well, I just heard somebody sneeze. So you guys are live now. So if you have a question, feel free to go ahead and ask.
Gary, it's Noel. Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Gary, when you were like this is going back like in the beginning when you were transitioning from TD and you were at the full-time job and you transitioned to being a full-time real estate entrepreneur.
Yep.
How long was the transition? And what were the milestone when you know that it was ready for you to go full-time on real estate?
Yeah, it's a good question. So here's what I did. So Smart Home Choice, we started that in 2010, and I didn't leave my full-time job until around 2014. And that was a question that I asked a lot of, I would say, the people that I looked up to, like Dave Butler. And at the time, I was working with a couple other mentors that I had, and I was like, that was a big question. When do I know it's time for me to leave? Like, how did you guys know it was time to leave when you guys started your own business? And here's their answer. Their answer was, you'll just know. So I was like, okay, that's cool, but doesn't really help me. So then, digging around a little bit more, doing a little bit more investigation, I think the best answer I got was, don't leave your full-time job until your part-time job becomes your full-time job.
Okay.
So what happened was Smart Home Choice was really starting to get busy, and I couldn't manage working at TD anymore because I was on call as well too, and getting woken up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning because I used to walk around with a phone from work, and it was just too overwhelming to do both. But Smart Home Choice still wasn't making enough money. But if I left, I believed in enough that I think I could make it work, and I did, and that's when I did it. And then when I look back at it, when I was talking to Dave Butler, he was like, "See, I told you, you would know when the time is right," and it's just that feeling that you have. So I think the best answer for that is, don't leave your full-time job until your part-time job becomes your full-time job.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Just to add to that, I feel the exact same way because I just couldn't manage at work anymore with what I was doing both quote unquote jobs, and it's just I knew it was time. But I also put a deadline. I'd put a deadline to myself at some point where I realized I can't keep going back and forth with these two functions. So I just put a deadline, and that was kind of what made me push myself as well.
Yep. And I'll also tell you one little small story that I think is really important as well too, because when we started doing the whiteboarding, me and Darlene have been doing the whiteboarding for the last 8-9 years now, and it's the most incredible thing that I've ever come across, and anything that I've done along this journey. So one of the things that we'd written down one year, and we do it every single year, and then we review every 6 months, and then we check everything off. But anyways, one year, Darlene put down leave Bank of Montreal, and I think it was like in June 2012, I think it was. And in June, she got a letter from Bank of Montreal saying, "Hey, look, we're going to be shutting this branch down. You have an option. You can move to this branch, or you can take a package." And it was thrown out to her in that exact same month. And she decided, you know what? We've put out in the universe, so we might as well leave. So she did. And I was like, okay, maybe this thing really does work. And I said, in 2014, I'm going to leave in April. And then sure enough, in April, there was this program came into TD Bank. It was called Lean. They're letting a lot of people go, and it was just time. So I do believe that what you put out into the universe, it will come back to you, and your job at that point in time is to take action to meet it. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
And and the vision board, I really believe in that. I've been doing that for 3 years, and everything I put, like last year, all the things that I put for my 1 year priorities, I accomplished. So it does work because you're focused on it. Like you see it. It's in my room. I see it the moment I wake up and when I go to sleep. It's private. Nobody sees it, but my wife and my daughter. But if you see it on a regular basis, it manifests, and your time, energy, and effort is focused on it. So it does work for me.
Oh, 100%, Noel, 100%. I agree with that. I've seen it. I don't know how it works. I'm not going to try and figure out, but it works. It's almost like here's exactly how it works. This is the best solution, or at least the way that I can understand it. It's like going into a restaurant and the waiter comes over to you. They give you the menu. You place your order, and then they leave. And, you order a steak and some potatoes and some veggies. What's the likelihood of that coming back? It's pretty high. So that's the same way that it works when you're placing your order on that whiteboard.
Exactly. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. All right. Good question. Okay. Another question here, Chris. My spouse is not interested in goal setting. I had that in the beginning, but things changed obviously for Darlene. Now, do you know of any podcasts or audiobooks that he or she can listen to?
Yeah, well, okay. Look, the number one thing I say is smarthomechoice.ca. We've got lots of great content, whether it's on the site or on our YouTube channels, or a lot of the podcasts that Gary's doing. There's a lot of great content there. And as I said, just to reiterate, we are putting together a lot more content for you guys this year. So obviously stay tuned for that. But outside of us, obviously there's lots of other places you can go for information. For example, Robert Kiyosaki, he's got a great podcast about whiteboarding and goal setting. Jim Rohn and some of the other, speakers that talk about goal setting and empowerment and so forth. These are great guys. So Jim Rohn, I know that's one of Gary's favorites. I'll give you one guy who actually changed my perception and Alicia's perception about whiteboarding and goal setting is Tim Ferriss. Some of you guys have heard or read the 4-Hour Work Week. Right now, Tim Ferriss' 4-Hour Work Week. I bought this book years ago when it first came out, and I read right through it. But for me, I took a lot of what he said, and some of it I found unrealistic personally. On the other hand, this is where I discovered vision boards. I didn't know what a vision board was, but when he said it, I was so into this particular book that I had, Alicia and I were out in the backyard, and I said to her, I said, look, I will, I'm reading this book, and here's what I want us to do. I want us to take a cork board, and I want you to go into your magazines and cut out everything that you want. Of course, she cut out the hottest fashions, the clothes. She wanted a car. She wanted, vacations and a whole bunch of stuff. But for her, for me, anyways, I got excited because finally now, it was a small little project, and it was like wishing, in a way. But that really worked for me to convince her to start doing some goal setting. Give her a little, in my mind, some wishes. And geez, man, I'm telling you, a new girl wished for a new purse. She was all over it. That was it for her. She was on board. So, yeah, that one was what worked for me. Tim Ferriss, the 4-Hour Work Week. But again, guys, if you need anything else, you need any more information, we can always send you. If you just reach out to us, we can always send you some more examples. That'll be helpful.
Yeah, speaking of Tim Ferriss, he actually has a podcast. It's amazing. There's one that I listen to. And you know what I'll do? I'll share it with you guys. Okay, I just put it in here. I don't even know how I stumbled across this one here, but it was Tim Ferriss interviewing Terry Crews. An amazing podcast. So listen to that. It got some great information out of it. It's long, but it's really good. Just listen to it in the car. Really good. Okay, Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, one more. It's Noel. Like we're in goal setting, and some of us have big goals. Like for example, financial independence, or having 20 rental properties, or having this much cash flow. And my question is, it's a long journey. It's a long journey, and it's you're gonna go through 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 years, and it's a long stretch. My question is, what do you do in between? Like you know you can do it because you're making progress on a yearly basis, on a monthly basis. The grind. Like you guys been through this. Like what do you do in that in between? Because that's where patience and persistence are are tested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay. For me, I think it's unrealistic to say you're gonna work on this every hour of every day. Okay, I just don't think that's realistic. You've got other things that you're going to be doing. So kind of what we talked about. I mean, weekly, monthly, and yearly. What do you do in between? You take small steps. You meet this guy, you meet that guy, you go to lunch here, you go to lunch there. You go out with your agent, you talk to your agent. I mean, these are small steps, and you might think they don't mean anything, right? They may not mean anything, but they add up, and that's what I see. I don't know if there's what do you do in between. I don't know if there's an in between span. As long as you're always focused on taking a small step, right? A small step, and again, just small tasks will add up. I don't know if that's helpful or not.
Yeah, the grind, and the pain that you're going to go through to get to where you want to get to is real, and you will go through it. There's no easy way to say it. You're going to experience pain, and here's the reason why you're going to, because the reward that you're looking for, and I heard this today, which I think makes so much sense, is that the reward that you're looking to get, right? It has to be almost as big as the pain that you're willing to go through, right? So if you're not willing to suffer, and I don't mean it by the word suffering, but it's just you will experience pain. You're going to experience setbacks, and you're going to have times in your life where you're like, why am I doing what I'm doing? I experience it all the time. There's so many times I'm like, why am I doing Smart Home Choice still? It's just so much work. It's not going the way I want it to go. I've had more failures than success in doing this. But when I get to the success, it's so rewarding. And it's like, wow, thank God I went through that, because you have to go through that pain to really enjoy. Like it's kind of like a football game. Can you call a touchdown if you don't have to go through all those the linebackers? You're gonna run across the field and there's nobody there to tackle you. Of course, that's not a real touchdown. So you got to go through those hard times.
Thank you. That's one thing that I really like about you, Gary, is your ability to be vulnerable, and you share the pains and you share the ups and downs. I really appreciate you. Like I'm just saying, and it's true. The universal why that we all have is financial independence, and only 5% of North American will have financial independence. 95% won't. So it's not easy.
No.
That's why we need this. We need each other. We're in this call. We're putting in the time. We have this big, hairy, audacious goal of financial independence, either through cash flow or passive income. So it is not easy, but the reward, like you said, is big. It's huge, because only 5% will achieve it.
Yeah, exactly. And make sure as you're going through it as well too, you're going through some of those battles, is that you have to always reward yourself along the way as well too, right? Or else it's just not worth the journey.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So you'll notice if you follow me on Facebook, I take vacations because I need that break. I need that, time with the family, or just to get away. All right, Chris, should you have, this is from Oswald. So should you have a partner go over your goals to possibly let you know if it's unrealistic to achieve?
should you have your partner go over your goals to determine whether it's unrealistic to achieve? Ooh, I think that's dangerous, because you're two different people, and what you think is achievable, he or she may not think is achievable, and I almost fear that may stifle you. On the other hand, if realistically, there is an impossibility there, perhaps it is a good thing. So I don't know if there's a real easy way to answer the question, but maybe the better question is, should you have a spouse or a buddy, a partner, a friend, go over your goals and keep you accountable? I think that's a better question, and I think the answer to that is yes. Again, my thought is what's achievable to you may be different to someone else. So I think accountability is probably a direction that I would go. I don't know, Gary, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense, Chris. But I guess you know what I need to understand though, Oswald, with the question. When you say a partner, do you mean like a friend, or are you talking about your spouse? I think those are two different, could potentially be two different questions. If you're still on the line there, Oswald, is he? Yeah, he's still there. Hey, Oswald, so are you talking about your spouse, or are you talking about like a JV partner?
Listen, fair enough. I mean, at the end of the day, maybe the answer is it could be the same for a JV partner matter.
Well, I would say, I would say for a spouse, right? And I know where you're going with this, Chris, too. I think it does make sense what you said and the way you answered it. If it was a spouse, I think that's your kind of your life partner. And I think you guys should be somewhat on the same page, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I know you're going to have some differences, but I think at the end of the day, you're still steering the same ship. And that ship should still be going in the general same direction, right?
Yeah.
Now a JV partner, he may only want one or two properties, but Oswald now wants 30 properties. So that could be completely different. They're not in the same boat, right?
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, not a wavelength. I mean, in that sense, no.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, and your JV partner is limited or limiting you, you may be happy with the two, and you go and pick up the next 28 with one or with several others, perhaps. Right?
Yep. This is more of a comment. This is from Marlon. That lean is right on my heels now. Okay. Yeah. So anybody, lean was this new methodology that was coming into, different corporations. And for me back then, it was IT, working at TD Bank. And it's just lean is a word of actually downsizing. And that's sorry?
Honestly, I didn't know what lean was. I thought it was the purple drink.
Yeah, no, no, it's downsizing. Yeah, and it's a scary thing, especially when you got kids and you've got a mortgage and car payments. That can set you back light years. And that's why I ended up having to go this route, because like never again did I want somebody to be controlling my financial freedom or future. So, okay, what else? I got a few more. We got 5 more minutes and we're going to wrap it up. So I got a question here. What strategies outside of whiteboarding can you apply to overcome barriers to setting goals or achieving them?
Outside of I think we went over a couple of them that will be very happy. I mean, that'll work for you guys. Talk about positive affirmation. And you know what? I'm very big on that. I struggle with that a lot, of course, but I'm very big on positive affirmations and in the morning talking to yourself telling yourself what you are going to do, what you see, what you want to do, and how you want to achieve these things, how you want to act for that matter. So I'm big on positive affirmation. I'm not, believe me, guys, I struggle too, though. Sticky notes we talked about, right? We said sticky notes. If you want to change your habits, that's something that you can do. And again, it's visual, right? Visual. I said that we're visual people, and I really believe that. So sticky notes, and then of course, again, smart, right? Breaking down your goals, actually, setting your goals, but then breaking them down as well.
All right. Here's another one. I like the questions, guys. These are good. I have goals with my JV partner to get 3 homes this year. That's a good goal. What are some of the goal setting solutions for us?
Goal setting solutions for you. Well, this almost might even come back to the whole realistic bit, because what I was saying was, being accountable. But what are the goals? I'll tell you what, the best one is give us a call, right? Mm-hmm. We are there to help you guys. Goal setting solutions for you and your JV partners. It's something that we'd love to work with you on. And you know what? If it just takes a little bit of time to help set you in the right direction, you and your partner in the right direction, it's definitely time that we have, Gary, Quentin, and I. So we invite you to have a chat with us, sit down, give us a call, send us an email, whatever it is. Reach out to us, and we're more than happy to sit down and help you set those goals and help you achieve them. Honestly, guys, I wish I had this when I was coming up. I really do, because I didn't have this type of handhold. I didn't have the hand-holding where people who were actually doing what I wanted to do, helping me. What I had was people wanting to take money from me or something from me, right? Expecting something from me. Hey, look at this new guy. He doesn't know what he's doing. Perfect. We'll put him in this deal and we'll make some money. What do you know as a young guy coming into this field? You have no clue. Right? But I wish I had what we've got now. I wish I had that. So you use it to its potential.
Yeah, no, I agree with that for sure. All right, any more questions? We got 1 more minute left. Okay, here's a question from Sean, and I think then we're going to wrap it up. So something I'm just learning based on this call might be slightly off topic, but when choosing a JV partner, is the intent to buy multiple properties with that same JV partner? I'll answer this one, and you can jump in afterwards, Chris, if you have something to add to it. So one of the things when you're picking a JV partner is you want to start off with a list of everything that you want in a partner and everything that you don't want in a partner, right? So you're looking for somebody that's going to complement you. So some of the questions may be, how much income do I want my partner to be making? Because depending on where you're investing, it could be in Midland where the home's only $200,000, or it could be in here in Oshawa where the homes are $400,000 or $500,000. How much down payment do you want them to have? $100,000, is that good enough, or do you want somebody who has $400,000? Because maybe you want to do 3 or 4 deals with that particular JV partner. So you got to go through all those questions and then figure out what it is that you're looking for a JV partner. Because maybe you want different JV partners, or maybe you only want to have 2 or 3, and then with those 2 or 3, you want to be able to get 20 properties. Right? So very important to write down that list first before you go and sit down with a JV partner. So then that way now you're interviewing them, and you know specifically what you're looking for. Right?
I agree.
All right. Okay, so with that, it is now 9 o'clock. We are done. So just a couple things that I want to say. So, and more specific to that last question that Chris answered in regards to reaching out to us. So what I'm going to do over the course of the next few days is I'm going to send out an email to all the members to set up a time with your coach to either have a face-to-face or a phone call and a one-on-one, and to sit down and kind of outline your goals and what you're looking to accomplish for 2018. So I think that's really important. And then number 2, we are doing another members call in February, and the date for that is Feb 20th. And then for this one, we don't have, we're actually going to have a guest speaker, but we don't have somebody lined up yet. So in that email, I'm also going to ask you guys, is there anybody in specific that you would like for us to actually reach out and bring on this call? All right. So again, going forward, this is something that we want to do on a monthly basis, and that we really want to make sure that especially 2018 is a good year for us and also for you guys as well too, which I think is very important. Okay. So I hope you guys enjoyed the call. It is recorded, so we're going to put this up on the members only site. I do apologize for some of the beeping there in the beginning. We were having some issues, some technical issues, but thanks again for being on the call, guys. Really appreciate it. And thanks, Chris, for doing a great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, guys. Have a great night.
Good night.